Hello, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, law of attraction, manifesting, and everything else in between. So today, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to talk a little bit about manifesting, um, which is a big part of witchcraft, by the way, because it's all about manifesting. Um, so, here goes. So, graciousness, being grateful. Being grateful gets you a lot. It gets you a lot. One, it gets you feeling accomplished. It gets you feeling warm and fuzzy inside. It gets you feeling positive. It raises your vibration. It puts you on a level of frequency so that even more positive, wonderful things can come into your life that you could be grateful for. So that's why you should be grateful. Let's start there. So now that we got that out of the way, why is it so important to be grateful? Especially if you're someone who thinks you have nothing to be grateful for, or that you've been, dealt a hard hand at this game called life, and you just don't want to give any you don't feel like you have gratitude in your heart because things have just been so tough. And I understand that because I've witnessed that, and I've seen people who just, it seems like they just can't get a break. Like, you really feel for them. But the reality of it is you can find something to be grateful for. Now, with that being said, don't be fake. Don't be fake to the universe. Don't create this false graciousness, just in hopes that if you pretend long enough, that the universe will buy it, and all these other good things will come your way. Based on people like me who say that if you're grateful and you put yourself on that level of frequency, you'll receive, even more things to be grateful for. Because I just said that, right? So don't be fake. It doesn't work that way. It needs to be genuine. You need to genuinely feel grateful for whatever you choose to feel grateful for. And if you're not able to identify anything to show gratitude for, why don't you work on doing some other type of workings on yourself? Do some shadow work to get in touch with that side of you that is just kind of taking over. Because it sounds to me like you're not very balanced right now. So you need to find that level of balance, and the only way to do that is to systematically peel back the layers and do the necessary shadow work. And I'll probably do a video on shadow work because I think a lot of people talk about that, and I'd like to kind of get into more of what that really even means, and how does that look to do shadow work. So for somebody like me, it's going to involve a lot of writing. So I can share that if you're someone who enjoys writing. I don't mind sharing that. So there's that. But as far as being grateful and getting you stuff, so now you're authentically, sincerely grateful. So the next step would be, okay, when do I get my stuff? I'm happy for what I got. When do I get my stuff? So the best way to explain this is with a story. I'm all about examples. Okay, so for me, I am living in a home that I cooked up. I manifested this entire home. The price of the home, everything about this place, I cooked this up in my head. And gratefully, I kept it a secret, even to my husband. I never gave the details or anything like that because I didn't need anybody's energy to weigh in on what I was manifesting. That's important. Keep silent. Even to the people who love and support you, even for the people who will benefit from the very thing you're manifesting, they unintentionally put their energy, which might be, not in alignment with yours. We'll just say that. So let's keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. So I use a scripting as a technique. So I was able to script, and I wrote extensively, multiple times, about the details that I wanted to have in my home. Now, I started doing this practice earlier this year. That's when I started doing this. At that time, I was living in a place I had already manifested wanting to live in, which was at the time in Florida. I wanted to live in Florida. We had moved. My husband and I met in Florida, but due to his jobs, different assignments. We moved away quite a few times and then moved back. We kept moving back. That was me. But this last time that we moved, it was definitely me. I did a working in the middle of the night. Um, I was using it for some of us who were in a YouTube world and watch other witches. At the time, there was a witch on YouTube talking a lot about dark energy. So I was really tapping into that, using my own tried and true ways of practicing magic, but really, trying that principle out of dark energy, and reaching out, you know, using dark energy to create the spell, because you create things in darkness, right? So that resonated with me. So I recall doing the spell so that the first step was getting my husband a job in Florida, a good paying job, something that would make him leave where he's at. He was aware that I was doing this, by the way, just I wasn't in secret. He was aware of my desire to move. I tried to live in Tennessee and enjoy, that's where we were at the time. I missed living in Florida. I wanted the oceans, the salt air, this humidity, the heat. I did not like the change of seasons. I wanted sunshine pretty much all year round. So yeah, that was where my head, and I was dealing with seasonal depression. I did not like it there at all. It's just not, I was born in the spring, and I think it says something about me. I can tolerate the colder temperatures, but for a small amount of time, it's for visiting. I don't want to live there. So I manifested the move to Florida. I was very grateful. I was in a place of full-blown gratitude as I began to manifest the very house that I live in now. Okay? Now, I had knowledge at the beginning of this year that I would move. I didn't know where. I didn't know it would be to Arizona. Let me just be clear. However, and as of January, because I did a reading, and it was in the reading, that's where I discovered I would be moving for sure. And I began to manifest that house in my head at the time that I knew I wanted to live in, and how I would style it, and all the things that I would do, right? Okay? The farmhouse table that I would eventually have, because at the time I had all different furniture, a whole different style. I had a house full of furniture because we moved. I lived in very large homes with multiple living areas, formal dining area, kitchen table, all that sort of stuff. So I had furniture galore. I got rid of all my furniture to move here. I'm jumping ahead, but let me get back on track. So I'm sitting in my place in Florida, and we were living, it's like apartment condo style. They were condos, then it was apartments. I don't know what they did with it. But anyway, nice 3-bedroom place we were staying. It was nice. And we lived not too far from the ocean. Beautiful home, beautiful. We loved our home. I didn't love how small the kitchen was at the time, but I thought I could live with it. Another story. Anyway, it wasn't my dream place. It was a place that fit what we needed at the time. We thought we were going to be empty nesters majority of the time when we were there, but life didn't turn out that way. So I was still very grateful to be living in Florida. My husband and I had set up a nice little life based on a Floridian lifestyle. I was very grateful. My initial spell worked when I was sitting in Tennessee, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I did that spell. And it worked within hours, because my husband had that interview. He got called about the job that morning, and he got confirmation he had the job within 48 hours of that initial call. So it worked over the phone. It worked. And it was a better offer than where he was. He was going to make more money, and he did. So gratitude. Yes, I was very much in a place of gratitude. So as I began to script and imagine and do other types of workings around this home, I didn't obsess about where, because remember, I already have the knowledge I'm moving. Of course, there's the assumption I'm going to be in Florida. I think it's somewhere in Florida. I didn't assume it was going to be in the same city or if it would be down the street. And I stayed open though. I stayed in alignment. I went to go look at homes. I went to go look at open houses, model homes and brand new communities, because I knew it was going to be new construction. And I fell in love with most of the homes. But there was always this little part of me that was like, I like that, but, ooh, I would just change that though. I like this, but, oh, I wish it could be this way. There was always that thing. And I was like, oh, that's okay. That's just how I am. But still, I still, that'll be the dream house. So I'm sure eventually when I'm ready, that'll be it. But it never really was a full fit because I did go look at places just in case I was supposed to, part of being in alignment was to go look at places and to pick my house, so to speak. So I began to do that. Although none of those houses quite lined up to what I wanted. They were close, but not quite. So what I'm getting at is I manifested my move to Florida. We had been living there for over 3 years. And I was ready for the house that I wanted to live in. At least indefinitely, I never speak in first because we clearly we got gypsy in our blood because we move around a lot. But this home I'm in now, I began to plan this out earlier this year in 2019. So scripting, I did do magical workings. I would include it. I kept a manifesting list in a workbook I was using. I would sometimes reach out using my tarot cards just as confirmation, just to continue to keep going, to stay in alignment. Not question is if it's going to happen, but I would, just little validating questions like, oh, the house that I went to look at this weekend, the open house, is this the house? And that yes or no type questions. Usually I got vague answers, never a yes, never a no, just very vague. It is what it is. Sometimes that happens when you use tarot cards. But I just held steadfast to the original message that I received that we would be moving in April. So this is at the beginning of 2019. I'm doing this the first quarter. As of March, I'm really heavily, because I'm very aware that April's the time. So in March, my husband gets this job. Actually, backtrack. February, January. In January, let me backtrack. My husband, there was an opportunity I saw that to sort of he had a great position he was in, and technically we could have moved anywhere we wanted, which was always something I was thinking about because he had the type of job you could live anywhere, because he was working remotely. So I was concerned about the stability of his company, just to be clear. That was my concern. I was concerned. So I said, you know what, dear, we should probably start looking for other jobs for you, just in case. He's always down for that. He's like, yeah, you're right. So we tag team. So he'll look for jobs. I look for jobs. We're on our separate computers. He's working. He's working, so he can only do so many. So I used to do what my husband does. So I know how to answer questions and do all that sort of stuff. And he already told me what to say to questions or things like that. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just filling out, the application. I have his resume in front of me, which I helped him do, and I've known him, for over a decade, and I know his work. So it's easy for me to do this for him. And when I don't know something, I'll ask him. So usually we'll work side by side, and we'll kind of do two people filling out applications, and you got a decent resume and you have experience, yeah, you're gonna get a call back. So he did. So he wanted to, get the feelers out there to see we're just in case. We don't want to be in a situation where, because he didn't have a signed contract set up, we were just dealing with that one job. So, you don't want to be caught out there. So long story short, one of the jobs that we were on my watch that I was looking at was in Arizona. So I saw it and I said, do you want to take this opportunity? He's like, I don't know. I said, I don't know either. I said, we need to keep it open. And as I tell you, as I clicked that voice, that little voice, and if you follow my blog at leaptaken.wordpress.com, I talk extensively about the little voice, the little intuitive voice that kind of whispers in your ear about something. And it wasn't so much as words, but more of a feeling. And I said, oh boy, what did I just commit to? What did I just commit us to? Well, lo and behold, he interviews. He's a great interviewer. He got the job. He got that job. And he was able to start in April. So he moved in April. So Yeah, we moving, he moved. We being, the family. He moved, started our move by taking some of his stuff and coming to Arizona from Florida. And then I followed up in May. I would have come in April, but we had some delays. So that reading was correct. April was the move. It started in April. And once we got to Arizona, I'm very much still in line with scripting. Come March, because I didn't know where things were going to go, because he wasn't sure he was going to come here, because he had some other things on the table from all the job applications, online submissions we did, right? Um, and then there was the opportunity of him starting something on his own again. He used to do that before. So there was a lot of stuff going on. It was a lot of great energy. So I was tapping into that energy of just like anything's possible energy. So I'm scripting, and before I go to bed, I'm doing this. Some stuff I'm sharing with him about details of saying, I know this is going to happen. I told you that was going to happen. This is going to happen. And he's like, I believe you. You said, I believe you. I believe you. So I feel good. I'm vibing on this energy like, oh, I'm going to get my house. I'm going to have, this feature, that feature, so forth and so on. And we get to Arizona. So we're staying in a temporary, like corporate type housing. Initially, that worked out fine. When I walked in there, I was like, this is a nod to what I want, because it had some white cabinets. Now, this is a little older condo. So they repainted it and refinished them. They were nice. It was lovely. But it wasn't my home, my manifested home. But to me, the universe was giving me a slight like, oh, you're almost there. A little nod. So we go house hunting. Sometimes with my husband, sometimes with my daughter, because my husband was at work. And I'm not going to lie, I was starting to get a little, when you have this idea in your head of what you want and you're not finding it, it's really, you get a little discouraged. So I was starting, but instead of feeding into that, I would go back and script some more. I would go back and I would do even more spell work. I would do candle magic on fixing my mood. I'm very proactive when it comes to this. So I would have said I would do a chime candle, small, because I wanted it to be quick. And, I would anoint it, and I would use I would use sometimes lavender oil, or sometimes like a lemon oil, something that's brightening, to brighten my mood and brighten my outlook, and to remember to be focused on my goals and what I want. So, that I did that. That was very helpful. By the way, that's very helpful when you feel low, to do that. Use a yellow candle or white candle, that's fine. But for me, it was a yellow candle. It was helpful. Okay, so stayed in alignment. I was willing to, at one point, I found a place, and it was kind of nice. It had the subway tiles, but it didn't have there were nice modern cabinets. It was newer. It was only a couple years old. It would have fit. There were so many other fees and all this other stuff with the community. But you had access to all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I was thinking, oh, well, maybe this is it. And I was excited because it was just a beautiful place. So I was like, this might be it. Maybe this is it. And I would reach out. I would use my tarot cards. I would use just my own personal intuition. And I was almost making myself want it, for it to be it. I got that, not one way or another type of reading to validate. So there was that. That was driving me a little crazy too. Light up another candle. Let's get back in alignment. Let's stay encouraged. That was me. Okay, so this is all happening. I got there in May. So May, June, July, because we were there for about that amount of time. We left in July, right? Yeah, I left in July. I'm getting confused myself. I got to go back and look on when. I think it was July, August, something like that. I think I was in July and I was coming in August, or the end of August coming in. Yeah. No, it was August. We were there up until August. So I came at the end of May of this year. So really June, July, August. So 3 months we were there, which was fine. It worked out. It was comfortable. We were very comfortable there. But it was temporary. We weren't, it was a temporary place. We can't stay there. So my daughter and I, this is the time we go out, and we're out. We had looked back-to-back days of looking at places, and it was nice, but you go in, it's like, oh, this is a nice kitchen. This is a smaller living area, but we make that work. But the bedrooms are like, tiny. Or the bedrooms are large, but the rest of the common areas are too small. And it's like I would feel claustrophobic here. The ceilings aren't high. It's just combinations, and it doesn't look how I think it's supposed to look based on my manifestations that I've been doing. All this scripting, I got pages filled with these stories of the I am statements of what I see, and it's not coming close. So the last stop, and we're tired at this point. We're exhausted. We come out. The agent is waiting at the model house, and we get out there. I was like, oh, this is such cute. I said, oh, these are nice little homes. It looks like a cottage. I was like, oh, what? That's my style, farmhouse cottage style. That's my deal. So I'm getting excited, and the colorful homes on the property. I'm like, ooh. So, and they're the right size. I didn't want another gigantic house again. That we had once, bigger, not gigantic, but I didn't want a big house. I didn't have a big family. It's just going to be me and my husband. My daughter's around temporarily, but we're talking like a year, maybe. She could always leave, honestly. But at tops a year, so no. I would be stuck cleaning or managing it or finding money, extra money to pay a cleaning person, and that could be money for me for shopping. So no, I don't want that. So anyway. We find this place, this community, and it wasn't where we had been looking. We just started looking in this other area, and actually my husband's the one to say, hey, I worked with a couple people, why don't you look in that area too? It's nice, basically a big suburb. And I said, oh, okay. So we come into the model house. I'm blown away. She's blown away. And at first we walk in, the agent's engaged talking to somebody else, so we have a chance to kind of just stand there like, oh shoot, this is nice. And I'm like, what's the catch? Can I afford this? Did I get the pricing right? It's brand new construction. It's beautiful. So we go, and she says, well, let me show you what's available right now. It's obviously brand new. People are building houses as we're walking by. She's like, this one's now. I have some coming up. They'll be ready, but this is now. So we go look at this. We walk over to the place. It's frickish, so hot, so freaking hot that day. And I'm trying not to sweat to death. I have my makeup on, my hair is done. And I'm like, can we drive? She's like, oh, no, we can walk. I'm like, okay. So we're huffing. So, I'm like, all right. So I'm distracted from heat, and, I'm old, damn it. I can't be out in the heat walking like that. It's like 100+ degrees day. So like 115, So we're walking, we finally get there. Let me tell you, it was like a cool breeze came over me. That's why I went into the detail about the heat, because we walk, and each house is prettier and prettier. And she's like, right before we even get there, I'm thinking, please let that be the house. Please let that be the house. And it was the house. Because they all look empty as we're walking, because they are, like some people live, but they look empty. So we go into the home. I walk in, and I was like, the floors. The first thing I noticed, the floors are everything I wanted. I didn't want dark. I didn't want too light. There's like in between, a grayish, and that's what these floors look like. That's one. So I'm excited. The door is like a craftsman style front door. Two, the house is the farmhouse style that I've always wanted. A cross between cottage and farmhouse. Perfect. As I would read the brochures, this is how they design the homes. So that's another thing. So, okay, come inside, see the floors. I'm gagging over that, like, oh my God, quietly, because, I have some class. I don't want to act too excited in front of this agent, but I'm like dying inside. I'm screaming. So I make a sharp left, and I see the kitchen. The kitchen I had been seeing, the exact same color granite, the subway tiles, the stainless steel appliances, the cabinets, the sizing of the cabinets, the handles, everything is literally what I have been thinking about for months that I knew would be mine, that I manifested. So when I saw that, my daughter, who is aware of how much I enjoy this style, just looks at me like, so we're like, calm down, calm down. So we have to remain calm as we continue the tour of the home. The bathroom is beautiful. The bedroom, huge patio door off the bedroom, all the things that I wanted. So I'm like, okay, beautiful appliances, everything is top of the line, it's perfect. And I'm like, okay. So, we done and we talk about, the finer details and all that. Of course, I have to tell my husband now. So that's a whole thing. But long story short, obviously, work is we're here. so, yeah, so we're here. And I'm, having fun, starting to decorate, do stuff to get ready. To not get ready, but I was going to say get ready for Christmas, but to live, because these are decorations I will just have. I tell this story because I was in a place of gratitude from the manifestation, the spell work that I did to move to Florida, which was so important. And we lived there for 3 years, and I loved living in Florida. Let me be very clear. It wasn't a situation that I didn't want to live there anymore. I wanted something else. And to get that something else, it was in alignment with moving. I was grateful. I was in a place of constant gratitude that, oh my God, I was always happy to wake up and live in sunny Florida and be so close to the beach, and just that whole lifestyle of living in Florida and basically wearing, summer clothes year round. I love that life. I enjoyed it tremendously. There wasn't a day that I was regretting that I moved there or that I wasn't grateful. Seriously, there was not a day I was not grateful I lived in Florida. Of course, yeah, you complain about the heat sometimes. Oh, it's raining. Oh, the bugs and all that. Complaints, yes, I still had complaints. Let me be honest now. But I was always grateful to freaking live there, though. That's where I had wanted to live. All the energy I raised and the spell work and the dark energy and all that stuff, it worked. It worked, and I got to live there. So I was very much vibing on a high frequency. So when I did my spell work for my home, I knew whatever it was, wherever it would be, I would be okay. I would be happy. And that's where I'm at now. So I'm in a place of gratitude. I didn't start manifesting this home again until this year. I would say most of the year, yeah. The first quarter, sometime in the first quarter, I started with my scripting. The first quarter. So I would say February, March. I really went ham in March. And then, of course, April, in the middle of the move. Once we actually moved to Arizona, I was furiously writing, almost nightly, about this home that I wanted to manifest into our lives, because I understood now what was happening. There had to be an opening. And the only opening, not the only, but I think one of many options that the universe provided to us was here in Arizona. Okay? Fun fact, I used to tell my husband all the time, if I didn't move to Florida, I would move to Arizona when I left New Jersey. It was good. In my head, that's what I wanted. Now, there was a whole story on why I picked Florida, but I had gotten an opportunity to visit Arizona before I moved to Florida. And I was there for a couple weeks for work. And I really, really liked it. So, yeah, I'm living here. So that is so funny to me. I've lived everywhere I said I wanted to live. Yeah, everywhere I said I wanted to live. So next, I need to start thinking internationally, right? And step outside the country. Maybe I'll start manifesting that. But for now, I'm in my cute little cottage farmhouse, because that's how I see it. And I'm starting my little decorations. There'll be more to come. Getting it all fancied up. But one other thing I want to add as far as the manifesting goes. I got rid of all my stuff because my whole purpose, my whole concept was that you need to make room for these manifestations to come. You need to make room for them. I always wanted a farmhouse table, a long farmhouse table with this color wood, the dark color. I always wanted that, and I got it. And I found it, and when I found it in the front of the store, I was like, this is all happening. I mean, I got the house first. I was sitting there looking at empty room because I got rid of all my furniture. I didn't have a couch. All we had was bedroom furniture. Not even that. We had bedroom furniture. I got rid of all the other kids' drawers because I didn't like them anymore. And I said, we'll get new ones. So my daughter, poor child, she came here. She hadn't had anything but the bed. That's it. and that's it. But the closets are custom closets, so that have built-in shelving in them. So she was able to make do in her interim. So we haven't gotten to her room yet, because once she leaves, it'll be a guest room slash my personal space. But for now, it's her space. But yeah, we have all these wonderful things that just make it possible. I have the porch, a front porch that I've always wanted, the type that I've always wanted. It's beautiful. So I haven't even gotten to decorate that yet because I want to do the inside and then I'll get to the outside. Shoot, all this costs money and I'll manifest that next. What? Actually, I am. So anyway, yeah, so I had to make room. And that's another way of being aligned with what you want, your goals and the things that you want to come into your life. So I had to do something radical of selling all my stuff and letting go and completely going on what I know to be true, which is I knew we were going to move in April. That happened. The move began because technically my husband left and he took some stuff with him from our home. So there you go. So the move began. And he got storage. So he actually drove from Florida to Arizona. So that was crazy. But anyway, he did that. And then, so that happened. And, you know, then we all eventually moved there. But it all went in line. And, you know, this year, 2019, has been wonderful as far as for me manifesting. That's just one example. Guys, there's so many other wonderful things that have manifested and that have happened. That I am absolutely grateful for. And I'm, again, on the frequency of just being grateful. And because of that, more things have been coming, you know, the things that I want, you know, it's a wonderful thing. And I want to just say this because I think I'm talking a little too much. This video is a lot longer than I planned on, but when you're doing this type of work, when you're manifesting things into your life, please be aware that other crap might still happen. Car accidents, you know, you get sick and you get a hospital bill you weren't planning on putting in the budget of everything else. You know, your spouse or your kids, you know, they do things they weren't supposed to do that throw things off, that stress you, you know. They make decisions that seem to be kind of against the very thing that you're manifesting. Because there's consequences to those decisions. You have to stay aligned. You have to stay, because you have your will and your energy. Everybody else is responsible for their energy, but you have to still send your beacon of light out into the world so that it draws in the very things that you want. You know, you're sending out that energy of beautiful home, you know, with all these details, this, that. I want it decorated this way. I want this, I want that. For these things to come in, you need to keep on shining. And if that light gets dulled and that energy starts to weaken, you need to find a way to rejuvenate and refresh so that you can go back to doing that again, so those things can come to you. People, even the ones we love, will distract you. They will get in your way. They get in your head. They get in your ear. Other stuff starts to happen. You know, bills, extra bills, all money, crazy stuff where you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to focus on this one thing. Those things were still happening. You know, major events that were not aligned with my goals were happening. And I still managed to stay in alignment. I still managed to stay focused. And part of that was doing my little candle spells in between. When my energy got low and I got distracted, I was focused enough to know I needed to do something to get back in alignment. So those little chime candles, you know, little skinny short ones, that was great for that purpose. Because in my mind, it's quick, so it's quick and it's going to quickly work. And it did. I'm grateful to that, to even knowing to do that. But hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully this has inspired you as far as manifesting and how to go about it in a practical, real life way and how it really does work. I have videos that I did when we were in a temporary place before I knew this place existed. And I talked a little bit about some of the stuff that I knew I wanted and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, hopefully that helps you. Thank you for watching. This is Leap Taken. I'm Mika, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and feel free, please subscribe. That would be awesome as well. Thanks. Bye.